Tonight's stories come from the heart of small-town America, where love curdles into hunger. In one home, a forgotten anniversary gift spins silk and blood into something monstrous. In another, a son flees through the woods from the mother who no longer needs to eat to survive. Two tales of family devotion gone wrong, one bound in spider silk, the other dripping with hunger. Welcome to Nightmare Proof, where true horror comes alive. Here, you'll hear real stories of the strange, the disturbing, and the unexplainable. Turn down the lights, get comfortable, and prepare to face the darkness. Story 1, Charlotte's Dress. Jeff thought it was a little odd that his new neighbors, who only moved in that morning, were already having a garage sale. And doubly odd that they were holding this garage sale at night. But it didn't matter, because Jeff was in trouble. He wasn't a perfect man, and although he loved his wife very much, he nearly forgot their anniversary would be the next day, and he hadn't yet bought her gift. The sudden realization dawned on him as he was driving home from work. He and Charlotte lived in Penwell, a small town in Illinois, surrounded by smaller towns in the middle of corn and soy country. The only things open that time of night were convenience stores and bars. As he pulled into his driveway, he saw the light on in his neighbor's garage, and multiple tables that displayed various gimcracks and gewgaws. It was his last hope. He walked around from table to table and looked at the bizarre assortment of chattels the new neighbors had for sale. There was an ugly skeletal doll carved from wood. It had an oversized head, protuberant eyes, and a grimace with pointed needle-like teeth. In its minuscule hands, it held a tiny little spear. Not in my house, Jeff thought to himself with a shiver. He looked at a collection of books and took note of the author names: Jack Torrance, Ben Mears, and William Denbrough. Never heard of them, and I doubt Charlotte has either. Besides, who wants to get dusty old books for their anniversary? Next to the books sat a black cube with intricate gold embellishments. Imagine, if I give Charlotte a paperweight for our anniversary, she's likely to give me a divorce in return. He almost resigned himself to the idea that he'd have to face the consequences of his forgetfulness when he happened to spot a radiant dress hanging from a rack and covered in plastic. The black gown had red accents and was clearly made of silk. It truly had an elegance about it that was worthy of his wife's beauty. What's more, it looked to be just the right size. He took it straight over to the table where his neighbors sat. The man at the table was a strange-looking sort of fellow. He was thin and very pale, with black, beady eyes, an aquiline nose, and a pencil-thin mustache waxed and curled. His raven-black hair was combed straight back and held in place with copious amounts of pomade. His wife sat next to him. She was a short, plump lady with curly carrot-orange hair that was a little mussed. Her smile revealed she was missing more teeth than she had, and her garish lipstick contrasted badly against her waxy complexion. "Look, my love, our new neighbor is a man of good taste. He is buying your old dress you wore on our honeymoon." The man's high and nasally voice bore a strong accent, which Jeff presumed to be Eastern European. "Oh, yes, but I had much different figure back then," his wife said with a chuckle and a husky voice. "Z-stress is made of genuine Z-Pider silk." Jeff squirmed at the thought of millions of spiders being used to make the fabric. He hated the wretched things. Then the woman said, "Very beautiful, very rare." Hearing this, Jeff's unease at the thought of spider silk was at once superseded by concern for cost. Rare and sentimental always equated to expensive, and he wasn't carrying much cash. How much are you asking for it?" Jeff asked tentatively. "I think," the man started, then reflected for a moment. $20. Flabbergasted at such a deal, Jeff pulled out a crisp bill and paid the gentleman. "Anything else, my dear?" asked the woman with a saccharine smile. You wouldn't happen to have a box?" "Of course!" The two spoke in unison. The next day started well enough. Charlotte fixed them both breakfast, and while Jeff gobbled up the victuals, Charlotte's attention happened to be on something outside their kitchen window. "That's odd," she said. Our new neighbors. They're having everything put back into the moving van. That has to be some kind of new record, don't you think? Jeff stood up and looked out the window with his wife. Although professional movers were loading box after box into the back of the U-Haul, the strange couple was nowhere to be seen. Jeff told Charlotte about seeing the new neighbors the previous night, but conveniently failed to mention the details of the hows and the whys. He told her how he thought they seemed somewhat peculiar, then joked, maybe they decided to move out because their house wasn't haunted. He and Charlotte snickered at the jab, but it was a mirthless kind of laugh. Charlotte turned her attention to doing the dishes, and Jeff helped dry them. "So, when are we giving each other our presents?" Charlotte asked casually. "Well, I thought we'd go into Springfield for supper, to that pizzeria you like so much. The one that has the good calamari. I figure we can exchange gifts before we leave." "That sounds nice. But why wait? You didn't forget, did you? Are you stalling for time?" Charlotte's tone was jovial. "No, of course not," Jeff replied, maybe a little bit too defensively. "I just thought it would be better to wait until this afternoon. Let's say 3 o'clock. When the time arrived, Charlotte was the first to present her gift. It was a small box, wrapped in silver and blue paper. A card taped to the package read, "To my loving and thoughtful husband." Jeff felt shame, rising in him like floodwaters. He cleared his throat, tried to shake the feeling, and unpeeled the wrapping. Its contents revealed a leather-strapped chronograph watch. It didn't look cheap. "I love it," he said, and gave her an appreciative kiss. All the while, he did his best to stifle the feeling of crushing guilt. Jeff reached under the sofa, where he hid the dress, and handed it to her. "Sorry, I didn't gift wrap it. You know, I kinda suck at that anyway." "I know," Charlotte said with a coy smile and a wink. She lifted the lid on the box, and her eyes widened. "Oh, Jeff," she said. Do you like it?" "Like it? Oh, honey, I love it. It's positively radiant. It looks like something a celebrity would wear." She sized it up against her body. "I'm going to try it on right now." Charlotte hurried to the bedroom, and Jeff sighed with relief. Despite his momentary bout of forgetfulness, he managed to get his wife a gift she truly loved for their anniversary. Charlotte yelled from the next room, "Did you keep the receipt just in case it doesn't fit?" Jeff hadn't considered that. At least he hadn't dwelt on it. Butterflies did loop-de-loops in his stomach. "Don't worry about that, honey. We'll get you taken care of if it doesn't fit," he called out to the closed bedroom door. Charlotte must have been satisfied with the answer, because she didn't say anything else. Jeff sat quietly on the couch, waiting for his wife to come out and show off her new dress for what seemed to him to be a short eternity. A tremendous crash came from the bedroom, followed by a loud crunching and popping sound. Charlotte groaned and then screeched. Jeff sprang from the couch. "Charlotte, are you okay?" But Charlotte gave no reply. He darted through the living room, but before he could reach the bedroom door, it burst open. He heard his wife's voice from within their bedroom, although it had a strange quality, a kind of warbling, tinny resonance about it. "I don't know, honey," said Charlotte. "Does this dress make my butt look big?" Jeff shrieked. The thing he saw still had his wife's face, but the rest of her body, its body, was that of a gigantic spider. Its shiny black form bore the same red accents as the dress. The creature was hardly able to squeeze its bulbous thorax through the doorway. The doorframe splintered and split as it pushed its way through toward Jeff. His legs faltered, and he collapsed into unconsciousness. Charlotte wasn't interested in going to the pizzeria anymore. Instead, she'd be dining in. Story 2. My mom never wanted us to meet her family, and now I understand why. Part 3. The plan had to change all of the way now. There was no time to dick around and collect evidence like a forensics investigator. I had to get out of there and find help before old Mommy Dearest gave me the same fate as my father had. Time to do some Spider-Man shit and escape out the window, I thought, grabbing my backpack. When I'm outside, I am going to sprint towards my dirt bike and get the hell out of Dodge. And that's exactly what I did, moving that thing forward as fast as I possibly could. hauling ass all of the way down our long dirt driveway, across the main road, and onto the hunting trail that led to our neighbor's property. The ground beneath me was wet from the constant rain showers that we had during the week, causing mud to get caked up on my sweatpants, but I didn't pay attention to that. Twigs and branches scraped my arms as I rode through the overgrown areas of the trail, and I didn't pay attention to that either. Albeit the scratches I received caused small flecks of blood to hit the sleeves of my white Adidas shirt. All I paid attention to was the sounds of my surroundings and the knowledge that I was on my way to safety. After around 15 minutes or so, I had arrived at the neighbor's house. I parked my bike next to an old 1992 sedan that had the back doors ripped off of it, and I sprinted towards the front porch, my heart pounding. My body reached about 10 or so inches away, and the porch light came on, almost blinding me, and I flung myself up the steps, coming to a screeching halt in front of the door before banging on it wildly. "Mr. Buchanan!" I said loudly. "Mr. Buchanan, open the door!" In response to this, there was a slight shuffling from inside the house, and soon enough, I heard about 4 locks get undone. "Are you the police, Mister?" Buchanan's voice said from behind the door. Already told ya that. Don't have no damn moonshine in ma bathtub." He definitely had moonshine in his bathtub, but I wasn't going to say anything about it. "No, sir, it's Mark," I said. "Mark Watkins." "Oh, you're that little gay boy who hangs out with ma daughter," was the reply. "Mister." Buchanan opened the door a bit and peered down at me, running his pointer finger and thumb across from his thick black mustache. "What you doing here at 7 o'clock in the morning?" "Cassie's sleeping. My mom killed my dad, and I need help," I said, taking my backpack off. I took the notebook out and continued with, "I wrote down everything that I saw in here and, boy, can't read." Mr. Buchanan interjected, laughing. "I wouldn't be able to decipher anything from that little diary you got." He opened the door all of the way and continued with, "But can listen. Still got ma hearing even though I lost most of it while working for Ford. Come inside, boy." He stepped to the side and let me in, quickly shutting the door behind me and locking it back up again. We then went into his living room, where the walls were lined with stuffed deer heads and old memorabilia from the First and Second World War. I sat down onto the faux leather couch that was covered in a panther pelt that had been turned into a blanket and set my backpack down by my feet, putting the notebook back thereafter. Meanwhile, Mr. Buchanan had disappeared, but I could still hear his voice as he said, "So, your mom finally is showing her true colors, huh? Always thought that woman was cuckoo. Could just never prove it." "Yeah, I guess so. And she killed my dad," I said. "I think she might go after me next." "Did she do anything with the body afterwards?" "I think she has the body in the garage." "Hanging the bastard up like a goddamn deer so he can bleed out?" "Probably." "I think she ate some of him, too." There was then a silence for a while, and then Mr. Buchanan came back into the living room, a bottle of Fireball and 2 shot glasses in his hands. He set them on top of the book stand that was next to the left side of the couch and sat down next to me, opening the bottle thereafter. "Son, if she ate him, or at least a bit of him, that means she ain't human no more. You're dealing with something that the natives call a Wendigo." My mother being a Wendigo sounded far-fetched, but at that point, I didn't question anything. Mr. Buchanan was a superstitious man, and always had been his entire life. Something that was rooted in his background as a member of Appalachia. "Here, have a bit of this to calm your nerves." He poured a shot of Fireball and handed it to me, pouring himself one afterwards. I stared down at the alcohol for a moment, shrugged, and we clanked the glasses together, sharing a drink. My mouth, throat, and stomach became warm, and I slightly smiled, my body starting to relax a bit. "I think she's just crazy," I said, handing him the shot glass. "But I won't rule out what you suggested. Gotta keep an open mind, boy," Mr. Buchanan replied, putting our glasses back onto the book stand. That's all you can do in this situation. Come with me. Have a solution to your little problem here. We both got up then and walked to the back of the house, then downstairs into the basement. He turned on the light, and the sight of what looked like a full armory of rifles filled my eyes. This man had anything a hillbilly or doomsday prepper could ask for in one room, including illegal, explosives, and handmade booby traps. Don't mind the traps, boy. Those are fur Bigfoot. Bigfoot, my mother. Same thing, different name. What we want are these. He pointed at a wall that was filled with several automatic weapons that I had no experience with, but was willing to try due to the situation I was in. This is like a movie, I said under my breath as we walked over to the wall. Boy, this ain't no movie. Mister, Buchanan said, taking an AR-15 off of the wall and handing it to me. If it was, I'd be already down there, saving the day. We smiled at one another, having the most genuine moment I had ever experienced in my life. My father never smiled at me like that, even when I was a small child, so I took this as an opportunity to feel like someone was actually enjoying my company for a bit. Boom! Father, son, moment over. Enter exploding house. She blew up the house, I exclaimed. Mr. Buchanan, we have to. Mr. Buchanan grabbed a flak jacket that was meant for a gun range and a few magazines, shoving it all into my face as he said, "Shut up and take this, boy!" He then armed himself and headed towards the basement stairs. Hurry up! We gotta get down there before the sheriff shows up. I put on the flak jacket and placed the magazines in it, thereafter following Mr. Buchanan upstairs. Cassie, you up, girl? Yeah, Dad. Cassie. Her name was Casanova, but everyone called her Cassie because she hated being named after a historical Hugh Hefner called from her room. What was that boom I heard? Your friend's house just blew the hell up. I'm heading down there to go check things out. Tell your mother where I'm at when she comes home from her shift at Walmart. Mr. Buchanan called back. And don't worry, he's with me. I'll explain what happened later. Why couldn't my parents act like this? I thought, as we barreled outside. Get in the Sudan, boy. It may not have back doors, but it runs like it's brand new. I got into the passenger side and watched as Mr. Buchanan slid into the driver's seat, poking what seemed to be an undone paperclip into the ignition. He wiggled it around for a moment, and the car roared to life, stuttering a bit before settling out. How did you manage to get the car running like that? I asked, almost getting flung through the windshield as he hit the gas. The tires started squealing as my face hit the glass for a second before my body got thrown back into the seat. Don't know. This ain't even my car. Somebody left it here a few months ago, and I've been driving it ever since, was the response. Best damn car I've ever owned, though. Better than driving the lawnmower to work like I used to. Only Mr. Buchanan would say something like that, and I was all for it. His redneck mindset was pumping me up in a time of absolute madness and peril as we bahaed down the hunting trail like a couple of bandits trying to escape the police, as the stereo was turned on and blared AC/DC as we approached the fiery inferno that used to be my house. Would ya look at that? Ain't that the prettiest but yet ugliest fire you've ever seen? I looked at the fire, at the flickering flames, the smoke, the grayish-red sky, and agreed. This was ugly and beautiful at the same time, like a cutscene from an extremely depressing game. The fire meant hope and change, but yet danger and insanity at the same time. Holy shit, it's your mama! I stopped looking at the fire and brought my sights forward, feeling Mr. Buchanan hit the brakes hard as I saw my mother. She was standing in the middle of the driveway, still in her bloody robes, a long stick in her hand. At the top of the stick was the severed head of Jackie, her tongue sticking out. "Oh, shit!" I yelled. We then sat there. The car stopped in the middle of the road, our heads turning to one another, eyes wide. "Marcus!" my mother yelled, not moving. "Don't say nothing," Mr. Buchanan said. "Don't say nothing. Don't move a damn, Marcus." You must repent. You must repent. Repent! My mother screamed. She threw the stick onto the ground, causing Jackie's head to fall off of it and land in front of her feet. Mister. Buchanan shook his head and muttered, "Not the biblical shit!" What do we do? Run her over? I asked. Nah, shoot at her? Nah, boy. Just wait. Marcus! My mother screamed again. We stayed silent then, just staring at her as she stared back at us. After some time, my mother looked down at Jackie's head, squatted, picked it up, and began walking towards us. Marcus, she now said in a normal tone, what did you do to Jackie? Why did you kill her? And why did you kill your father? Ah, shit, Mr. Buchanan said. His hand touched the throttle and gripped it tightly, his arm swiftly pulling it into third gear. Hang on to something, boy. We might hit a speed bump here in a minute. I braced myself, holding on to the sides of my seat as my mother inched closer and closer to us. When she got into a decently close range, I saw that her eyes were missing and the empty sockets were bleeding. She had cut them out. Fuck. Fuck. Look at her face. I see it, I replied quietly. How the hell can she move in a straight line without no damn eyeballs? I know just as much as you do, Mr. Buchanan. Mr. Buchanan hit the gas and yelled, "Brace yourself, boy!" as the car launched itself forward, heading straight into my mother. She hit the windshield and then slid off of it, getting thrown underneath us, and we heard a harsh thud, and then boom, 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 as her body got smashed by the wheels. I'm hitting the brakes. The car came to a sudden halt, and I was launched at the windshield again, my cheek slightly kissing it before my ass got thrown back into the seat. I then looked back to see how much damage was done to my mother, only to find that she was gone. She's gone, I said. Mister. Buchanan looked back and nodded, pursing his lips. Wendigo, he said. Ah, told you it was. A Wendigo, and you didn't believe me. Well, at this point, I had no choice but to believe him. Once, she was just a crazy woman waiting to snap. Then she went psycho and ate a chunk of her husband, then became one of them. So, Frank was a Wendigo, I said. Who in God's name is Frank? My grandfather, that's who Frank was. First, he was a man who enjoyed torturing and killing people. He got away with it too. And then, he must have ingested someone's flesh, maybe while having a psychotic episode or something, and gained the eternal thirst for blood. Yeah, I said, rubbing my forehead. I glanced down at my hand and saw a coat of hot sweat on my fingers. The sound of sirens then came up from the left side of the road, and the sheriff's car pulled into the driveway. He got out and grabbed a shotgun, now walking towards us, and what now was a crime scene. Ah, fuck, Mr. Buchanan said. It's the sheriff. He got out of the car and closed the door, heading towards the sheriff. The two met one another and spoke for a few minutes, speaking in low voices. After a little bit, Mr. Buchanan returned to the car and said to me through the open driver's side window, Boy, you're gonna be okay. Go with the sheriff and all. Stay here to wait for the fire department. You don't have to do that, I said. Boy, don't question me. Mister, Buchanan said, his expression straight and stern. About time you had a responsible adult in your life. Responsible adult? He definitely wasn't that. A wild redneck who drove a car that started with a paperclip and managed to save my life, however, was the description which fit the bill. Bill, the sheriff called. Yes, sir? Mr. Buchanan called back. Who did you get this car from? Dunno. Somebody left it on the property and kept it. Why? The sheriff walked up to him and said, It's got Minnesota plates on it. The car was reported as stolen a few months ago by a guy named Frank Koski. Aw, hell. Mister, Buchanan said, his shoulders slumping. Listen, we can get it returned. Not to him. He's dead now, the sheriff said, taking a notepad and pen out from his shirt pocket. Frank got hit by a drunk driver while he was walking down the side of the road one night. but it was advised by his lawyer to return it to a Michelle Watkins. "That's my mom," I said, getting out of the car. I came over to where he and Mr. Buchanan were standing and continued with, "That's my mom, and she killed my dad, and tried to kill me because I know that her family is linked to a major crime and—" "What's he on about, Bill?" the sheriff said, looking at me with a cocked brow. Mr. Buchanan pointed towards the hunting trail and said, "Boy, go with the sheriff to Ma house and show him that little diary you got." I smiled, nodded, and replied, "Yes, sir." Thank you for watching Nightmare Proof. If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to keep the nightmares alive. Have a story of your own? Send it in, and you may hear it here next time. Until then, sleep well if you can.